This is episode 3. So, first quote: love is when you do everything that you can to help another person live their best life. Doug Krakow. So, I think about that constantly with people that I'm interacting with. And when I am speaking with someone or how I'm acting towards someone, I make sure that what I am doing is going to be the most beneficial to them. And I don't go from the mindset of what would make it best for me, like a selfish type of mindset. And this is cool how I just thought about that if the other person is as happy and powerful and capable as possible, that is better for me to have a friend like that or a girlfriend like that. And that's how I always was with my two girlfriends that I had in my life, one in my early 20s, one in my late 20s, is they noticed that in me that I was always trying to build them up and teach them and make them more capable. And they were sometimes not receptive to that. They always kind of usually wanted me to just make decisions and plan things out. And I wasn't okay with that because I was like, listen, because I love you and I care about you, I want you to become as capable yourself as you can become and not have to rely on me all the time because I'm not always going to be around for you to rely upon. And that's how I think when I think about when I raise my kids, when I have them, is that I have a job to do from them being 0 to 18. I need to make them as resourceful as possible so they can go out into the world. Like they could parachute into other countries in the military and be in the military and be able to handle that situation like Navy SEALs, And that's what Navy SEALs are trained to do is adapt, thrive, and overcome, right? So, like, if I have a daughter, I want her when she's 18, and of course, I want her along the way to be capable too. But we'll just say 18, I'm kind of like, you're an adult now, now you can do anything. I want her to be able to go fly over to Europe and backpack around for 2 months and be fine, and I wouldn't worry about her. Like, people might ask me, hey, aren't you worried about your daughter taking a big, long trip like that all by herself? And I'd say, no, I know what she's capable of. I help prepare her. She's a strong young lady and she can figure things out on her own. If she needs me, she can call me up and I'll help her out, but I don't think she's going to need my help. So, when a word is important to you, like love is for me, you tend to have a lot of different variations of it. And like Mexico's Eskimos, they have like 60 words for snow to describe all the different types of snow that there is. Like there's a certain word for a certain type of fresh powdered snow, and then one that's more damp, or one that is darker in color. And it's just because it's so prevalent in their life, it's important to them. The Greeks, they have at least five, ancient Greeks have at least five different types of love because that was important to them too. Agape is one of them. So, love is a verb, it is an action word, it is something that you need to do. The feeling of being loved is the fruit of love, the verb, our loving actions. The best way you can show someone love is to find out directly from them what makes them feel loved. Then doing this for them is an act of love. So, a verb is like an action. So, that's what love is. It's just, you can't just sit and not do anything and expect that to give off love to the people that you love. Like you have to express it towards them, and through thoughts or physical action, kind words. So I keep that in mind that I need to always be actively showing my love towards others. And you want to make sure you're getting it right too, because it's like the one book where it was the five love languages, like different types of love, like different actions that people receive from others. They can have different levels of feeling from those actions. So like some people, if you say kind words to them and give them a compliment, that would resonate with them. That's their love language. Some, it's physical touch. If you pat them on the shoulder, you know, type of thing. But some people like gifts. So I think it's important to make sure that you are showing people love in a way that they understand that that's what you're giving them, you know. And not that you have to alter your own personal style completely, but it's just to be clear with your communication and make sure you're letting people know how you feel about them. Because like with me, it's like sometimes I'll tell people how much I like them or appreciate them, and I think they think that's a little bit strange that I'm very just forward with my feelings about that. And I just let them know that if I didn't tell you, how would you know? Like, if I didn't show you, then you wouldn't know how important you are to me and how much I care about you. And I'd like you to know. So, the next one, what is hell? I maintain that it is the suffering of being unable to love. Fyodor Dostoevsky. So, like I've been saying, how love is the most important thing in all of existence, is that if you were unable to love, that would be the worst thing. And it's along the lines of beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So that line I had to think about. It's just that in order for you to see beauty in someone else or something else, there would have to be beauty within you to appreciate that beauty outside of yourself. You know, like, and that's kind of like a compliment to yourself, that if you notice that someone is very beautiful, or something really just, you know, kind of pulls on your heartstrings type of thing, and you have that feeling, it shows that there's some passion and kindness and just love within you. So that can make you feel good about yourself, that that's where that's coming from. And you know, if you couldn't love, you very likely could be filled with hate, or at least apathy. So that's why Dostoevsky says that what could be hell, like it's like, what could it possibly be? And the kind of like, to imagine what it would be that, just not being able to love. This is a big one I think about a lot. Suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment you find meaning in it. For that which gives light must endure burning, and those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. My paraphrase, Doug Krakow's paraphrase from the book Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. He's a Holocaust survivor. So I pieced that all together from a bunch of stuff he said. And Nietzsche also said, he who has a why to live can bear with almost any how. So, oh man, suffering. So I've talked about how you wouldn't define suffering as suffering any longer if you could assign meaning to it and find meaning in it. So right there, you've taken your suffering and like, what's the point of this? Like, why am I being in pain during this workout, or why am I sweating and kind of challenged at work? And it's because you're creating something good with that. You know, for that which gives light must endure burning. So for a log to give off light, it has to burn. The fire has to burn it. And if you were trying to anthropomorphize the log, like give it human qualities and traits, and that would hurt, like to burn like that poor log. But the only way it can give off light, which is a beneficial thing to people, and heat and warmth, is that it burns, which would be painful. And this is cool with if the first 30 pages of Thus Spoke Zarathustra from Nietzsche. And the first 30 pages, it's Zarathustra is the main figure in the book. And he's up on top of a mountain, and he's been living there for decades. And they do say that you do have to kind of like be alone. Man, Nietzsche talks about being alone a lot and how it's beneficial. But Zarathustra did that. He spent some time up alone on the mountaintop, away from other humans, and just thought. And kind of came to some realizations. And he comes down from that mountain to talk to people again. But the sun is rising right there at the beginning of the book. And I have a hard time with that. Zarathustra, he looks at the sun, and he realizes, he's like, the sun can be happy and feel good about itself because of all the people that it provides light and warmth and life to. It grows plants, and we eat plants, and so because of all the good the sun, if nothing else, if the sun were ever to get down on itself, be like, why am I here? Like, what am I doing with my existence? It could feel good about itself, knowing that because of what it's doing, it's burning up there. I mean, it's a plasma reaction constantly, right? It's like, keep that up, son. Like, we need you because you're helping so many people and beings in this world. And I feel like that. I feel that way about some of the people in my life and some of the really cool nurses that I work with. If they ever seem upset or sad, I'm like, you should feel great about yourself because of all the people you are helping, all the good you're doing, all the people you're making feel better, including me. So that's cool. And if you have a why to live, you can bear with almost anyhow. So it's like, if the cause is sufficient enough, the weight is irrelevant. So if your purpose, the justification of what you're doing, you can tolerate any difficulties and discomfort and pain. It's like there being a just war type thing of, it doesn't matter how bad the war is if you know you're fighting for a good cause. I have so much with this, but Nietzsche says that it's not the just cause, it's not the cause that justifies the war. It's the great war that justifies its cause. So that's why we should be grateful that we have this whole human life experience to go through here. And all of our difficulties and challenges is it gives us something to do that is admirable and purposeful, like making other people's lives better. So me with my professions of firefighter, paramedic, a paramedic in a hospital and an ER, it's you know, that stuff that I have to do, it justifies my existence. It makes me feel like I'm really an important person to have around here. And there's a lot of things in my life that make me feel like that. So that helps me. And the meaning of life differs from man to man, from day to day, from hour to hour. What matters, therefore, is not the meaning of life in general, but rather the specific meaning of a person's life at a given moment. Viktor Frankl. So, throughout your day, like whatever thing I'm doing, if I'm helping a certain patient or helping a certain person, that's the meaning of my life right there, right then. And I focus entirely on that. Um, yeah, it fluctuates, it changes. Keeps you kind of smaller, tight compartments so you don't, you have your big purposes in life, like, but I think it's kind of good to have those, like, second by second, minute by minute, day by day type of things that help you focus and stay in the present. Pain and suffering are always inevitable for a large intelligence and a deep heart. The really great men, I think, must have great sadness on earth. Fyodor Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment. So, when I'm sad and suffering, I think about how that is benefiting me and making me more compassionate. So I want to be a great man, and it's not that I want to experience sadness, but I know its place, and I know it's important, just even for the contrast of things, like the deeper the valley, the higher the peak, The deeper the valley, the higher that mountain peak will be. And it's like, so when I'm working hard at work or I'm at the gym and I'm tired and or frustrated, it'll make those times where I get to walk in the sunshine during peaceful calm or just relax with someone that I like more meaningful, because I know what it's like to be on the other end of things. And I appreciate those tough times. Like, I want to be as hard as possible. So, like, in contrast, I can appreciate the other end of the spectrum. Okay, where a man's wound is, where the world hurt him, that is exactly where his genius will be. Wherever the wound appears in his psyche, whether from an alcoholic father, a shaming mother, abusing girlfriend, cruel bullies, whether it stems from isolation, disability, or disease, that is precisely the place for which he will give his greatest gift to the community. My paraphrase from Robert Bly's book, Iron John, A Book About Men. So, yeah, the wounds that I've sustained psychologically, even physically, it's all stuff that has taught me about what it's like to be a human being who is putting forth effort and taking risks and trying things. So I view that as things that I am very appreciative of. They've been my greatest teachers, I would say. Some of them, yeah. And it's often your greatest, deepest pain which empowers you to grow to your highest self. Heroes and villains always have the same backstory: pain. The difference is what they choose to do about it. The villain says, "The world hurt me. I'll hurt it back." The hero says, "The world hurt me. I'm not going to let it hurt anyone else." Heroes use pain. Villains are used by it. Alex Hormozy. So that's a choice. And I think about Batman with that and how he chose to become a hero, and Joker chose to become a villain. And I definitely want to be a hero. So, and with that hero thing, they say that it's good to have heroes, like, do have my heroes, and to be a hero to other people. That keeps, it's like Tony Robbins when he says how there is a limit to pull power, like what can pull you and make you do things, like things you're forced to do. Yeah, but there's no limit to push power. So, like, if you have like a drive, like a purpose pushing you to do something internally within you, like a desire, like, there's no limit to that. So, hey, use both. I say it's like it's a complicated type of thing there, but I have my heroes that it's like I'm trying to be like, and they pull me, and that's really good. And then I have people that look up to me that I'm trying to be a good role model for. And that's a little bit like, I mean, I think those are pretty much equally strong. Tony Robbins' thing is a little bit different, but I think a lot about things like that. I tend to make connections, and it's what kind of having a lot of experiences does for you is you're able to extrapolate and kind of combine things to help augment them and make them stronger and help you reach a greater understanding. So, right now what I'm doing, this is a documentary. I always thought it'd be cool if I'm doing pretty well, I think, in life, and I know it's going to get better, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to make a documentary type of thing along the way of my rise to becoming even better. So this is my origin story. Doug Krakow is my quote. And when I'm doing these hard things that I know are going to keep me becoming more of a heroic figure, it's like I remember what Alex Hormozy says, where he said, "This is what hard feels like. This is what it feels like. Hard things like doing, like frustration, fatigue, and that's good." So it's not a failure if you learn from it, Doug Krakow. So, I mean, you got to try things and give it your best, and just be proud of yourself for going out there and trying things. As long as you do your best, it's like, what else were you going to do? Nothing, you know? So, trying your best and maybe not quite making it, like, I learn more from my failures than I do from my successes, because when you fail, I don't even like that word, but you're forced to think more deeply about what happened. You're forced to kind of dissect and do the post-mortem, like, on the failure. So with the success, like, you tend to just kind of go, oh, I did everything right, cool, you know, and you move on. So I do appreciate the times where I don't quite make it and I have to think about, like, the intricacies of what happened there and how I can improve upon them to make it so I am successful the next attempt. What the sunshine is to a flower, you are to me, Doug Krakow. So I think about people that I admire when I think of that one. And so, what does the sunshine do for a flower? It helps it grow. It's its life force. So there's people in the world. Some I always think about my wonderful nurses that I work with that are like that for me. They're like my sunshine. They're human sunshine. And so here's my little story. It's the movie scene from Lawrence of Arabia, 1962. Lawrence is talking with a couple of fellow soldiers, one of whom has an unlit cigar. Lawrence pulls out a match and lights the cigar. When the two soldiers, with the two soldiers watching, he then puts his fingers on the match. So the match he just lit the cigar with, he just puts the match out with his fingers and slowly just snuffs out the flame with his fingers without even flinching. One of the soldiers, named Potter, is mystified and he tries the same trick. So he lights a match and he tries to put it out with his fingers to squeeze the flame, and he exclaims that his fingers touch the flame, and he just screams out, "Ooh, darn! Well, that hurts." He wasn't even able to put out the match. He pulled his fingers away before the flame went out, and the guy's just like, "Yeah, I couldn't put it out. I couldn't put out the flame. It hurt." And then what Lawrence says, he replies, "Certainly it hurt. Yeah, like, right, it hurt." And the guy who just tried to put out the match with his fingers, just like Lawrence, he looks at Lawrence. He says, "Well, okay, well, what's the trick then? How did you put out the match?" And Lawrence looked at him and said, "The trick is not minding that it hurts." So it hurt Lawrence too when he touched the match flame with his fingers, but he just knew that he had to endure that and go through that pain to put out the flame to achieve his goal. And I think accepting that and becoming at peace with that and being calm about that is important. You don't want to harm yourself by putting yourself through unnecessary destructive pain that's physically damaging you, that's you're never going to recover. But like, I'm thinking about working out. So when I do my hard cardio workouts at the gym, it's like the intent is for it to hurt as much as possible, safely. And my cold showers, same thing. So that's how I'm going to get the most amount of benefit out of it. And I try to relax and be calm about that experience and learn to just like find the good parts about it. Like, and I hang on to my why. Like, why am I doing this, and how is it going to make me better? But it's cool. Like, one of my big things that has really been helping me, and it helped me when I was a young man, is I ran a lot, and I've been doing a lot of cardio at the gym, and it really does relax my mind enough to the point that I can really actually get a handle on things. So I know, like, I've told myself that the key to life, one of the keys, is to do that. Like, to regularly do, they say, 3 to 4 hours a week of zone 2 cardio. So zone 2 is 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. And you can look that up, what that means. And I'd use, for sure, the Carvian method. It factors in your resting heart rate to determine what your maximum heart rate is. Mine is 182 beats per minute. So I hold my heart rate in 60 to 70% of that for an hour. And it's like 130 to 143 beats per minute. So definitely, please do that. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. 3 to 4 hours a week in 1 hour segments would be good. At minimum, I'll do half an hour. I'm going to do a whole podcast on my health type of thoughts and things I found. That comes from Dr. Peter Attia, the zone 2 workouts. And you want to do a zone 5 once or twice a week if you can. So that's like a 4-minute push. Like, it's really, I do like a 2-minute warm up to get my heart rate up into zone 2, and then hang out in zone 2 for 2 minutes. And then it's 4 minutes. It's just, you pace yourself so by the end of the 4 minutes, you'll be conked out, done, like legs are dead. And then you rest for 4 minutes. I think Attia wants you to just be in zone 2 for those 4 minutes recovery. I kind of even go easier than that, and I really just want to be fully recovered for the next surge, because what you're doing is you're doing 4 of those 4-minute surges. So it's like 4 surges like that with a 4-minute rest in between, and 4 times. So it's like a 36-minute workout total. And you try and get your heart rate up to 90+% of your max. So for me, it's once 167 beats per minute, and do your darndest to get it up as high as you can. A lot of times, the first couple intervals, you might not get it there. Sometimes I don't even get in there till the third or fourth even cycle there, surge, and but I just try and get as many seconds, and hopefully it accumulates into minutes in that 90+% heart rate zone as I can. But I appreciate you listening, and I will keep trying to put out my best content here. So I'll see you next time. Live a good life. Thank you.